I think if I stop creating art or creating in general, I think, what's the point? Man, I've been creating in a sense of just creativity since high school. I think we were created by a creator, which makes me creative. And so I think I'm doing, I guess, God's work in some ways to create, or at least to try to do my best to articulate what's going on in my heart and my head, and trying to put that into the pieces that I have, because they speak to me, but they also may speak to other people in a totally different way. So what first got me into working with canvas, wood, I did some woodworking during COVID. As you can see around the room, I've done some things. Saw a buddy in Birmingham making cutting boards, and I was like, I could probably do that. So ended up buying some tools, buying some wood, and started making cutting boards for friends, and did a couple shows, did some jewelry as well, I was just making stuff up. I don't know what I was doing, but it was fun. And most recently during COVID, wood prices just skyrocketed, and so I did not have as big of a chance to make cutting boards as much anymore, and went back to grad school and just didn't have enough time. So I have all these pieces of wood left over, and got really inspired by an artist named Jason DeMio, and saw his work down in Franklin, and haven't gotten to meet him yet. I'm excited to, but he paints on his, I think it's his garage floor, but it's concrete, and then he paints on a canvas, flips the canvas, puts it on top of the concrete, and lets it dry, and then rips it up, and what's exposed on the canvas is this abstract piece. And so I had all these pieces of wood, and I was like, dang, well, what if I did that with wood? What would it look like to have a canvas paint wood vibe? And so I just tried it a few times, and turned out pretty cool. So that's how I kind of got started. So the process of me doing some of these pieces, it begins with the wood. How thick it is depends on how heavy it is as well. And so I try to plane some pieces down to where it's thin, a little thinner and manageable. And then depending on the surface itself, whether it's planed or whether it's rough, depends on what the paint's gonna do. So on the smoother surfaces, the plain surfaces, I'll sometimes put down tape. That way you see the wood after the paint is dried, and you rip off the tape, then there's like a clean line where it's wood and not paint. So I kind of have to plan accordingly to that. Also get, I believe they're around 1/8. I rip some pieces off to make them in a kind of like a frame. It's not really a frame, it's just kind of a makeshift frame, but it centers everything, it kind of contains it, and it kind of chops off the edge as well, so you don't see the paint kind of spilling over sometimes. So I'll rip that, I'll get pieces of wood, sand them, kind of assess like what I have. Then I'll apply the paint, or the tape, then the paint, the canvas, put the canvas on, let it dry for like a day. And I usually write down like what the weather was like, how, what paints I used, how thick it was, or how much paint I used. And then I'll come back in a day or two and rip off the canvas. Here we go. Oh, that's right. I used some like reds and oranges here. Oh gosh. It's not as vibrant as I wanted it to be. Dang. Okay. A couple pieces didn't work as well. Like once I ripped off the canvas, the paint really didn't expose as much as I want. So there's color underneath some of the pattern that's there, and that's been a little frustrating. It didn't really show through like I wanted it to. And sometimes the canvas actually looks pretty cool too. So I don't know if I could turn something into art with that as well. But then I polyurethane it just so it's set. The frame also I will finish, and so I paint with like a furniture finish. What I've figured out is that I'm learning. This is a whole process that I don't really know about, because I don't know how the paint adheres to wood. It was just like, all right, let's try this, and so yeah, it's been challenging, and just finding time to do it. I have lots of different jobs and other things that I enjoy, and so finding time in my day to be creative is kind of hard sometimes, but I have to make it a priority, you know. The fun of it is I may have a plan, but I never know how it's going to turn out because it's abstract. And so when I rip it up, I have no idea what it's gonna look like. And so in some way it is well thought out, and in other ways it's just what I get's what I get, and I kind of love that about it. So I've learned that I'm capable of anything that I want to do. Along the way, I've had people encourage me to be more myself. It's amazing what YouTube will do and show you, which has been a lot of fun, and some of it's just making it up on the fly. And that's, I think, the beauty of it. It's like, what if I try this? Oh, nobody else is here to stop me? Okay, I'm just gonna try this. And so I think just having the ability to try something new and the freedom to fail gives me the opportunity to continue creating, and maybe something will come into play that I had no idea about. I don't know if there's anyone doing this, which is fun for me. I love just the medium of wood. It's what's crazy. I've learned about the universe. We talked about the universe earlier. It's the most rare item in the universe, wood. I mean, I think on certain planets it rains diamonds or all these other elements, but like life on a planet and creating wood, it's extremely rare. And the fact that we take it for granted that it's just like out in our front yard. And so working with wood, I try to have that appreciation for it, that it is rare, and you can mold it into whatever you want. I mean, you look at furniture, you look at lots of other things. It's made up half of this house probably too. So it's a very versatile medium to work with, and I just think it's warm, it's textured, and then also to throw paint on it, I want that to be warm and textured. And so I want them both to be equal in this marriage together. I hope it speaks in a way that I'm not able to articulate in words, because there are no words in this art. It's a piece, and so I want it to say whatever they want it to say in some ways. But for me, it's just about creating. I love clean lines. I love different colors. I've always had a bent towards abstract art, and that's been really fun. The fact now that I kind of create it, I'm creative because God created me, and so I want to lean into that. One of my favorite quotes is, the creative adult is the child that survived. And so I think we have to get back to this place of just creating for the sake of creating. So if this ends up being just for me, I'm totally cool with that. And I want to make things beautiful, because I believe that the world is beautiful, and I have to do my my due diligence to allow that and to experiment with that.